Okay, g'day Charles. How you going?
Yeah, not bad, Pato, not bad.
That's good. Thanks for coming on during your holidays and everything.
No, it's all good. It's all good.
Yeah, looks like you're having a beautiful holiday, beautiful weather and stuff.
Yeah, yeah, we're up in Exmouth or Ningaloo Reef, which is on the west coast of WA. So beautiful weather up here. Bit windy at the moment, but we'll just let that pass and see how it goes.
Yeah, yeah, good spot for some running as well.
Yeah, there's quite a few. I've been doing a bit of beach running up here. There's a couple trails from here up to the range. There's quite a few in Exmouth as well. Didn't go for a run when I was in Exmouth a couple of days ago, but yeah, it's been pretty good out here. Been having a bit of a break from running because it's fishing and sitting back and relaxing at the moment.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, so Charles, how long have you been running for?
Oh, that's probably around 7 or 8 years. I've always been active as a kid, but I took up more running in the last 7 or 8 years. It was sort of my wife's fault. I was getting a bit lazy on a Saturday, so she goes, "Well, why don't you come to parkrun?" And yeah, it all started from there.
Yeah, yeah. And before you did ultras, I mean, you're obviously a big runner now, but how did you build up to running in like longer stuff? Like you've done 200 milers, you've done backyard ultras. How did you build up to that level?
Well, yeah, I reckon it's because of the park run. I started doing park runs on a regular basis on a Saturday morning, and that would be the only run I'd done for the week. And then when I thought, no, I got to start trying to get to a 10 or a 21k, I thought I'd give a half marathon a go, and I thought, well, I better start training a little bit harder. So then the 5k during the week happened, and then that slowly built up to 5, 10, 15, and yeah, slowly got up to the half marathon distance, and I was happy with that until someone asked if I should do a something a bit longer.
Yeah. Did you ever do any marathons before you did your first ultra?
No, no, I've only done two official marathons.
Yeah.
Um, that was, but that those marathons have been on a Monday morning before work. Because there's a, a organization, Bravehearts 777. They do seven marathons in 7 states in 7 days. So the first marathon gets held here on the Monday, and then they go from state to state during that week, and then they finish off in Brisbane or out there Gold Coast on the Sunday morning a week later.
Yeah. Okay,
So
cool. And I know that you ran your first backyard ultra in 2020 at Birdies. Was that your first ultra as well, or did you? I think you ran something else before that, though, didn't you?
yeah, I've done a couple of shorter ones before that. The um the one that I've done previous to that was it's called Truth and Consequence. So it's a 50k trail run in the Jardo Hills. And then also some up in Yanchep, which is about an hour and a half, 2 hours north of us. And that was a twilight Halloween style run. And that was done by Sean Kaiser from Ultra Series WA. Yeah, it was a good fun Friday night run. And actually, I did that one with four of my kids. All the kids did a 12 and a half leg each, and then I did the 50k. As pretty sore by the end of it, and I think that was my first 50k. And yeah, so I think I'd only done two or three 50k races before my first backyard Birdys backyard.
Yeah. So I'm not sure how old you are, Charles, but you look. I think you're a little bit older than me, but I mean, you're looking really fit. Have you always
I'm
been
about
like
65.
55? Yeah, you're looking bloody awesome for
No,
your age.
no, I'm 40. 49, I think.
Oh,
Something like that.
okay. Have you always been a sporty guy? Like, did you play footy or any sports when like you were younger?
I played soccer when I was at school, and when I first got married, like the first couple of years. But then, married life takes over, and you got young kids, and
Yeah.
the other things are more important than that. So, then running and soccer and those type of things. But as a as a kid, yeah, I've always done a lot of, yeah, running and just general healthy um activities. Um,
Yeah. So anyway, tell me about the first backyard ultra you did. It was Birdies back in 2020.
Yeah, that was 27 hours. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's 27. Now, that one there, I'd actually stuffed up my calendar, and my wife was working the weekend that we were running at Birdies, so she couldn't take off work. So my daughter crewed for me. And see, Birdies is about 3 hours south of where we live, out in the middle of the boonies. So yeah, we packed up the caravan, drove out there. My daughter crewed for me for that time, and um, I hadn't done anything previous to that more than a 50K run. So when I got to 12, I was happy. When I got to 15, I was happier. When I got to 20, I was happy, and then 24, and then yeah, I just took every hour by hour. Didn't know how long I was going to go for, or yeah, it's just totally spun out that I managed to get to 27 hours. Wore the same pair of shoes the whole time. Didn't have any clothes change at all, or didn't plan my nutrition at all. Just winged it and managed to get it. So
Yeah.
had
And
sore feet by the end of it.
sorry.
Had sore feet by the end of it.
Yeah, yeah. And that would have been a cool race to be a part of. Was that the one where Michael Hooker won and Phil Gore was the assist?
Yes, yes. And I think that was about 38, 39 hours. I think that one finished on.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, because that one there, equal sixth with Jan Mullen, I believe. One of another WA runners. So
Yeah.
yeah, bit of a spin
Um,
out.
yeah. So, I mean, you obviously liked it because you've done 5 more backyard ultras since then, right?
Yeah, birdies. I think I've done 3 of them now, and then Hurdies. I've done 2 of them. See, Hurdies is the one that's in the centre of Perth. It's a nice flat course.
Yeah.
And then yeah, Hysterical. Just a little while ago
Yeah.
in South Australia.
And what do you like? Well, what do you like most about backyard ultras?
It's got to be. I reckon it's got to be the starting corral, and the because everyone starts in the same area every hour. You get to meet new people.
Yeah.
You meet to yeah. You can run with the best of them, and you can just carry on until yeah you can't go anymore. Whether you've done one lap or 102 or 107, now the record is. Everyone's equal, and doesn't matter who you are and what your what your goals are. Everyone's got their own personal goals that they want to get to.
Mm. And
Um, you meet so many new friends on the course. Like if I look at my Strava now, the amount of friends I've got via the backyards, it's because you get to chat to someone for a whole hour, or yeah, in some cases like the 10 hours, 15 hours, you can help each other. Yeah, one of the races, Big Kev and me, we ran together. It was probably for about 12 hours. He would help me and I would help him. We were both struggling quite a bit at different stages, and yeah, we got to know each other quite well over that time.
yeah, and I remember when we ran it hysterical, we had a few good chats along the way as well, didn't we?
Yeah, yeah.
Mm.
So it's a good way of getting to know people, what their thoughts on life are, and yeah,
Yeah,
just general chat about things as well.
yeah. So you're from WA, obviously, and we've got like, I mean, there's a lot of good backyard ultra runners from WA. Like just to name a few: Phil Gore, Aaron Young, Rob Parsons, um, Bellman, Margie Hadley. yourself, Big Kev. There's so many. What do you think it is about Western Australia that produces all these great backyard ultra runners?
Well, I think because Phil needs a new apprentice on every race.
Yeah.
So if someone drops out, someone has to carry him to the end. Now, WA does have a good background because Sean Kaiser, the event organizer for the two in WA, he's he gets really behind the backyard scene, does what he can to make sure that things are happening for the runners. There's a good volunteer base around that as well. Like not only in the backyard scene, he does like the 200 milers, the 100 milers, the easier or the shorter stuff as well. He's got like one called Feral Pig, which is goes from 23 k's up to the 100 miler. But yeah, so it's all different types of things, and yeah, so WA's got a fairly niche market as far as the amount of backyarders and ultra runners. We're not a big running community, so like you go to a race and you might meet up with someone that you haven't met up since the last race, so you have a couple hours chat with them, and yeah, that's how you get to know them as well.
Yeah, well, look, I mean, I've run at two of the Ultra Series races, Birdies and Hysterical Carnage, and yeah, look, I mean, you're right. They're awesome races, and the volunteers are awesome as well. Like they're very helpful and supportive, and they really do. I mean, it just creates an atmosphere where you want to keep on going another lap for as long as you can.
Yeah.
So with Hysterical Carnage, you and I were going back and forth on Instagram a little bit, and we had a bit of a chat the night before the race. And I got the sense that you were approaching Hysterical Carnage a bit differently to previous backyard ultras that you've done.
Yeah. Well, this race, because it's not in WA, obviously it takes a little bit more time, effort, money to do it. Extra time off work and stuff, and plane flights, and even to get to Hysterical without the gear that you'd normally have was a bit harder. But that's where Sean and his crew come in really good as well. They had a gazebo set up for my team and for Brad Hall's team. So yeah, we got to experience, and because you're going over to a different state, you want to make sure you do your best you can. And the reason why I think I did a little bit better at Hysterical compared to say Birdys or Hurdies, my training went up a bit as well, bit of a spike in my training leading up to it, and then also as far as nutrition, I did a bit of a play around with a product called Bix. It's a hydration product, and made sure that I did I took it every day with me to work as an active drink, as well as a recovery drink on every run I do. So over the time, my body got used to it. So yeah, I did approach it slightly different. I actually wrote up a plan on this race. I haven't done that on any other races, so that also helped as well. So yeah, and I also gave up alcohol for about 6-7 months for this one, maybe even longer, not sure, because originally my race for the year was going to be Birdies, but then I couldn't do Birdies because it was my father's birthday party on the same weekend as Birdies, so family comes first when it comes to this kind of stuff. And then because I couldn't do Birdies, that's why we went to Hysterical, and try to get out as many things as possible to make sure we could get as far as possible.
Yeah. So when did you lock in Hysterical, and what inspired the decision to, I really want to make this the best backyard ultra I've done?
Yeah, when I found out that we weren't going to do Birdies, because my the family get-togethers, and then when we found out from that, the wife says, well, you've done all the training for the backyard. Why don't we go to South Australia, just the two of us? And yeah, it was best decision she made me do, I
Yeah,
reckon.
yeah. Well, look, I mean, you definitely had a good time. I mean, I could tell you're enjoying yourself, and you got set up in one of those good what are they like camp
Gazebos. Yeah,
gazebos too, which
yeah,
was awesome. Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
So you mentioned that you increased your training a little bit. What did it look like? How did you build up to the race, and how was your weekly mileage looking? And did you increase anything else, like your elevation or anything like that?
I did a little bit of extra elevation. See, where I live, it's all dead flat. So I live 2.5 k's from the beach line. So between us and the beach, there's basically all dead flat roads. I don't really have the time to go out into the hills and run out there. So if I got time, I'll do it before work, which is most of the times, or on a Saturday morning, my long run. But then I want to make sure I get home by 7:30 when possible. So all my running around is always around home unless it's in an event or something special to help mates out or whatever. Yeah. So but then as far as the elevation, there is a bit of a staircase near our place called Golden Bay Ladder. Me and a mate of mine, we did a half marathon up and down that, just as a bit of a fun thing. But that's yeah, that one there's like it's a set of stairs up, and then it's a loop to go back down. So the full loop is about 800 meters. So yeah, we just kept on doing them on repeat until we got to our half marathon. He actually did one the other day, about 35 or 40 k's just by himself, just for the fun of it. Yeah, I was at home, so when I seen on Strava when I was in Exmouth, it was a bit of a pity I couldn't join him for that one. But yeah, one day we'll do another one like that. And then there's also some sand dunes fairly close to our place, so I do a bit of a hill repeat up there as well. And I've also got my own backyard loop that I've got as well. So training in for Hysterical, there was I was going to do a minimum of a 12-hour run from a Friday night to a Saturday morning, just to find out how my nutrition was going to go. So me and my mate Rolf and a friend of ours, Laura, we were all going to do that as a just a thing that we could do between us. But then a couple of other people of our running club, they got wind of it and they said, "Oh, can we join you?" And then all of a sudden it turned from like a couple of us to an event, an unofficial event, and we made it as a fundraiser for one of my running friends, Laura, and she does a brilliant job for Bravehearts 777. That's the one I was mentioning before. She raises money for them, and then she does the national tour of the 7 marathons in 7 days. So yeah, but she needs to raise $11,000 to join the event. But yeah, and by doing this run, I think we had about 50 or 60 people roll up from our running community and yeah, join us for either one lap or 12 laps. I think there's about 4 or 5 of us that did the 12 laps, and I basically did it as a training run. So I worked all day Friday, got up at 4 o'clock my normal starting time, worked all day, got home from work, ran all night, and then on the Saturday I just did my normal stuff I do around home. So basically it was a 2-day of staying up, sleep deprivation training, so I could see what it's like to do that kind of distance and time on feet at one of the races.
Yeah, awesome. So just a small little training run turned into like a massive massive event, like fundraiser thing. That's awesome.
Yeah. Well, I think we end up raising about $2,500 by
Wow.
doing the like some of the friends that couldn't do it, they go, well, for every K you run, I'll put $1 in. So
Yeah.
at the end of it, there's quite a few of them that put $100 in into the kitty, and yeah, like it was such a good evening.
Yeah.
yeah, we had a bit of a beer truck at the on the front lawn because we got a fairly big front lawn, so we had like I think about 4 or 5 gazebos set on the lawn and cars all up and down the road. It was $15 entry fee, like an unofficial entry fee, and yeah, people could donate in any way, and people are like putting $50, $100 in the pot, and so but everyone got a little wooden spoon at the end of it. Um, and we also got a couple like to make it a bit of fun. We had some spot prizes through the night. Tribe and Trail, one of the running stores I go to, they gave us some vouchers and some bits and pieces that we could pass off for the night, some hats and shirts, and then also winery that my family own. They gave us some wines, and so we just over the night we'll pull out a spoon with the number on there, and that the spot prize will go to that person. It was a bit of
Yeah,
fun for the
yeah,
night. So
awesome. Those stairs, that training run you did as well, the 800-meter loop you mentioned with the stairs, that would have been perfect for Hysterical Carnage training, but considering the stairs at Hysterical Carnage, and as
yeah,
well as that, the sand dune runs, like because there was a lot of boggy sand on the course too, so that would have been perfect.
yeah, yeah. Because the normal loop I do for my backyard, I don't. I run down the sand dune because I do it the clockwise, but because I was doing hysterical, I turned that to anti-clockwise. So the first is very similar to hysterical. The first 200 meters was on the road, and then we had about 400-500 meters on the upper sand dune down like a limestone trail, and then we've also got a tower, like a Telstra tower type of thing. It's on top of a hill, so ran up to that. It made it longer than 6.7, but I was happy with that because at least I could get as much elevation as I could in for the loop. I think it ended up being like a 6.9, 6.8, something like that. So only a couple hundred meters, but at the end of the you're always going to have extra Ks in your feet anyway. So
Yeah. So you must have felt right at home on the hysterical course.
yeah, I actually really liked it because
Yeah.
I think because it's harder than most of the other. I've only been to 2 other backyard courses, but I think it's because it's harder than a lot of the other ones. You use different muscles for different different times when you're going through hard times. Like some of the guys at Hysterical, like DK, he was going through quite issues, and like some of the other guys as well. But yeah, I think because it was Hysterical was a lot harder than what I've been used to. Yeah, you end up using different muscles, and I was actually feeling quite good towards the end of it.
Yeah. Well, look, I mean, I knew it was going to be a tough course. And especially with it was pretty unrelenting. The sun was beating down the whole time. You had the stairs, you had the boggy sand. And it was the hardest backyard ultra course I've done. But yeah, look, I mean, like yourself, I mean, I loved the course, the variation, all the things to look at. Yeah, I reckon it was probably the hardest, but probably my favorite course that I've done.
Yeah, definitely. Um, Birdys was also good in the way that you had a lot of paddocks but yeah, it definitely is one of my favorite courses. No Time to Die. I haven't done the course, but when we're in Adelaide, I went for a bit of a jog on the Monday morning before we left to see what the course is like. And that's another course like Hurdy's, dead flat. So yeah, when No Time to Die, that's the other one in Adelaide. When that happens again, I think they'll be getting good numbers
Yeah,
again as well.
yeah, yeah. And there were a lot of people from Adelaide who were at Hysterical who said, "Oh yeah, the next race I'm going to be at is No Time to Die." So I reckon you're right. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Um,
yeah,
so leading into the race, Hysterical, we knew it was going to be hot. Like actually, the week before it was 40 degrees, so we were lucky that it wasn't going to get to that hot. But you told me before the race that you don't like running in the heat. Um, so how did you get through those 2 days of running in those conditions, considering it was pretty hot?
Well, because I don't do any hot running training, because most of my running is early mornings before work and Saturday mornings. I knew I was going to struggle with the heat, so what I've done before is I use my head buffs, and I fill them up with ice, and I just pack it on top of my hat or on top of my head, and then put my hat on top of it and try to get a bit of my head a bit colder. And then Brad also had an ice buff for around your neck, one of those sleeves, and that was really handy as well, because it actually just slowly drip feeds water down your torso and around your head, so you can at least have a bit of a, yeah, it's a little bit easier for your recovery when you come in on the lap as well. And then when I'd come in, like one of our neighbours, they had set up a like a mini shower at their water station, so I would come in and they would have the hose going on me just for the first 20-30 seconds to cool my head right down. And I think that really helped as well, just to get your core body temperature down a little bit. So yeah, the ice buff on top of my head, I used that idea when I did Delirious, because that was the same. It was extremely hot, going from during the day, because you're in the hot sun. It's a race in January in the south part of WA. It's the 200 miler, but going into that, I knew I was going to have a big problem from the heat. So I used that idea, and basically just slowly drip feeds your head. So, an ice pack on your head actually will last about 2 or 3 hours. And yeah, just so slowly melting. And that's why I have my Bunnings hat over the top of me, over the top of my ice buff, and yeah, it worked well for me.
Yeah, yeah. And I guess the big Bunnings hat would also keep the shade on your head too.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. I was also wondering, Charles, you've mentioned a few times that it sounds like you get up pretty early to go for your runs. Does that mean, like, do you go to bed early at night time and catch up on your sleep that way, or do you just not sleep that much?
I can do without not much sleep. Yeah, so for me, I can do without sleep, but then as soon as my body wears down from not enough sleep, then I can feel it, and then I just catch up on sleep and just don't do either as much running or try to get to bed on time. But there's always stuff to do with the family or meetings, or there's always something happening at night. But yeah, I still in generally try to get to bed at 10:30, 11 o'clock.
Right. Yeah. So with the heat at Hysterical Carnage, it definitely killed my appetite for eating solids sooner than it has at previous races that weren't as hot. Did the same thing happen to you? Like, how did you go with your nutrition plan?
Well, because I actually wrote a plan out this time, I tried to be fairly strict on it, and I had 3 different food groups. One was baby food, so every 3 hours I would have a baby food sachet, and then the another one was like proper real foods, and that would be either a chicken fillet, or like, so it was cooked up just before I got back, so it was nice and juicy, or some hash browns, or what else? What other things were there? They're just fairly easy real foods, and then on the other hour, I would have like fresh bread with no crust, so it was easy to digest. So it might be a half a sandwich or something like that there. So I was fairly strict on myself for the first 12, 14 hours, and the crew did such a good job making sure I'd get my nutrition in. And yeah, and I think because the first 12, 14 hours and that's when you have to make sure you get your stuff in. And that's why I think I managed to go as far as I did on this event.
You did mention baby food, and I've had other people on the podcast tell me that they eat baby food. So I've gone to the shops and picked out a few flavors before, but I haven't really found one that I like. So what flavor and what brand baby food do you recommend I should try?
Normally I go for the protein ones with like oatmeal or something like that. There, I just go randomly and just pick a whole heap out, chuck them in my race box, and when I get up to it, the wife will say which baby food you want this time, and it depends on how you feel. Sometimes you want a custard or a blueberry and banana one, or so there's if I got like 20 or 30 different types of baby foods there, just choose the one that you feel like at the time. So
yeah.
And it's quite funny because one time I was at the shops and I was buying all this baby food, and the lady, she goes, you don't have any kids? I said, yeah, I'm going for a long run tomorrow. Because you don't eat baby food. I go, yeah, I just chuck in my pack and I'll eat them as I go. And it's such an easy way of getting a bit of nutrition in. I know it's not full nutrition, but it does well for me. So
Yeah. And so by the sound of things, you were strict with your nutrition. So even if you didn't feel like eating, you did anyway. Is that right?
yeah, I did. And Pamela most probably can best tell you how I felt, because there would be times where I didn't want to eat, and she would basically say, "No, you have to have, it might only be, a couple forks of 2-minute noodles, or half of what the sandwich that she made for me, or some chicken, but at least every time I'll try to at least take something in. Especially when I started throwing up, I think that was around the 21 hours. That was when I started having my first stomach issues. But to be able to get back, because you'd lost everything, she made sure that I had to have some nutrition. They even raced down the shops and grabbed some ice cream and wafers. So, because that was a go-to for me at Delirious as well when I was not feeling the best. One of the aid stations had some fresh ice cream. So, and I knew that was an easy enough food source to get in without upsetting the stomach too much.
Yeah,
For me.
ice cream would have been good with the hot weather too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I did hear that you had some issues and you were vomiting. I didn't actually see you vomit, but yeah, I did hear that you were vomiting quite badly. So, do you know what caused that vomiting issue?
I think I always have a problem with that anyway. Like even some of my longer runs, and that's why there's certain things I've cut out of my my races as well, or even my long runs. I in general don't take salt tablets because I've noticed that makes me throw up. So I take salt in different forms, whether it's through bit other ways, just to make sure your salt content is there. But no, I think because of the heat, that's the most times I've had that problem. But yeah, it just means that you've got to slowly get back on track again. And I think the next time I threw up was around the low 30s, maybe.
Right.
I think I ended up throwing up 3 or 4 times, and that was just all of a sudden, boom, it comes onto you. And then and that's why I make sure I've always got water on me, just to clean the throat up a bit and make sure I get back on track again.
Yeah. That reminds me that I think I heard there was also one loop where you forgot to take out a water bottle. Is that right?
Yeah, that was because I had to put my ice buff on, so I put my water bottle on the ground, and my crew, because I'd forgotten the water bottle, my crew felt real bad, but it's not their fault. They'd given it to me and I'd left it behind. So
Yeah.
yeah, but then for that hour, I ended up just opening my ice pack up that was on my head, and I would just eat ice blocks all the way around the course. Instead of getting stressed about it, the best way is just to go, well, this is what I've been dealt with. Now I've got to work it out and try to get back to base camp without too much damage. But yeah, that's where the ice blocks carry them, and I just suck one of them for a bit, and when that run out, crunch it up, have the next one. So that's how I did it for that hour.
Yeah. Yeah, it definitely sounds like you did a really good job overcoming obstacles. There was I remember there was one loop, I forget around what time, but I think it was in the first day, like you made it back with only about a minute to go. Am I remembering correctly?
Yeah, that was it may have even been the hour where I didn't take water out, because I knew that I couldn't run too fast because you'd wear yourself out. And then because I got to where the basically the halfway point is, as we went down that hill, that bitumen section, I looked at my watch and I think, oh shivers, I'm about 4 or 5 minutes slower at that point, and that was the slowest I've ever been. And then from there on, I basically jogged and ran from there through the up to the old village, and then back into our village. So yeah, it was a bit of a touch and go. But they also, part of the plan was that if I'd only come back in with 1 or 2 minutes spare, that they actually had a pack ready that I could just chuck on, and that had water, no dose, baby food, a flask of Vicks, and Panadol in case I was feeling not too good, and I think a buff, like just basic essentials to make sure that if I come in late, that means I'll just have to go out with that and work it out on the way. So
Yeah. And is that what you did when you came in late that
no,
time?
I still had enough time just to grab what I needed. And yeah, thankfully, I think I had about a minute and a half or 2 minutes. So yeah, it was a touch and go, but you know, at the end of the day, a minute and a half is still a long time.
Yeah.
To have. I think most of my times from 24 hours on were around the 53 to 56 minutes. So around that time. So not extremely fast, but we also knew that because the course was harder than the other courses that I've been on, we'd have to minimize the damage before things got too hard.
Yeah. And that's something I learned from watching Bigs is I was watching all these runners coming in 57, 58 minutes over and over and over again. And that's what I realized. I realized you don't have to stress out if you're coming in late. You just
Yeah,
stick to your plan and go again.
yeah, that's definitely correct. Like especially, was it Thomas Tank Engine?
Yeah.
Uh,
Frank the Tank.
Frank the Tank. That's it.
Yeah. Yeah,
Oh, that episode that you done with him, that was such a cracker. I think I've listened to that in about 4 times now.
really, yeah. Yeah, he's a good guy. He's funny. I liked his first tip for a backyard ultra. Don't eat yellow snow.
Yeah. I remember when I was listening to that the first time, I was running out Yabaroo, which is a trail north of Perth, early morning run, and the sun was coming up, and I'm just running along, just laughing my head off. Uh,
Yeah. So would you say the first day was harder for you than the second day?
no, I don't think so. I think with backyards, you go through some hours that's harder, some hours that's easier.
Yeah.
Because I struggle from the heat, I knew that. So then I try to make sure I don't tell myself I'm having a hard time. Because if you go into that negative mindset, it's quite easily to go, oh, shit, it's getting too hard now. I'm not going to make it back in time. My race is nearly finished. I can't make it anymore. and then you drop out.
Yeah.
Because you go into that negative. So as much as possible, I tried to stay in a positive mindset. And yeah, that was the only reason why I try not to think that I had a hard first day or a hard second day. Yeah, just to try to stay happy and cheerful all the way around. And if you are going through a hard section, find someone new to run with and have a talk about their life, and you soon forget that your toes are sore, or your stomach is bad, or you're feeling tired, or to find someone new, or find a mate and just run with them for a couple of hours, and it's a lot better that way.
Yeah. So even though you did such a great job working your way through any issues that came about, like you got through the vomiting, you got through a loop without any water. You wouldn't say you were close to dropping during any of those stages?
No, most probably not. I mean, yeah, backyards is such a thing where you can have a bad hour or a good hour. I don't think I was going to drop out on any of those hours. I was never worried. Yeah, so I don't think so.
And when nighttime eventually came, how did you go with sleep? Did you get any sleep at night?
No, I didn't. I think it's because during the night loops, I wasn't going as quick as some of the other loops you can do at like Birdys or Hurdies, because of the difficult course. So I'd lay down, and on the mat on the ground, the wife would give me a leg massage or whatever, and I'd have maybe a 1 or 2 minute of my eye shutting. I would come in at different times and have a bit of a lay back in the chair. But yeah, I didn't actually physically sleep as far as that goes, and that's also why I did that 12-hour training block around home to get my mind and head around, going through the whole night without sleep, and obviously the start of the second night. So yeah.
Yeah. So you didn't go into the night wanting to sleep. It was just kind of like lie down, relax. If I fall asleep, all good. But if I don't, it's nothing to worry about.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Now I remember the night before when we were having dinner, but the night before the race, you were telling me that you were aiming for 38 loops and you were going to stop at 38 loops no matter what. So can you tell me about what was special about 38 and how you came to that decision?
Well, I did it because of my religious belief. I try as much as possible not to race on Sundays. And by me stopping before the Sunday, because for me, the Sunday is a day of rest where we focus on what God has given us in our life, whether it be through friendships or through other ways. And that way there we could stop before the Sunday. And I was, even though it's a target, I know we should never do a backyard with a specific target. Like Phil's a big believer of that. But yeah, but then also when he's seen my race plan, he seen that it went up to 38 hours, and he said to Tama, he goes, "Oh, how come the race only goes up to 38 hours?" And he goes, "Well, because of his belief." And yeah, definitely all good. But yeah, I'm not saying that other people or other Christians shouldn't race on Sundays. I'm just saying for my own personal belief, and Tamla, but both Tam and myself, we've got the same fairly strong stance on how we want to spend the Sunday.
Yep, and that's fair enough. Did you? So basically, I mean, if the race started on a Saturday, obviously it wouldn't have been worth your time. So before you signed up, did you kind of figure out, okay, 38 hours, that's enough, let's go for it?
Yeah, because obviously the 30, you get the big milestones. The 22 for the 2-2 run, the 24 for the 100 miler, the 36 is the next bigger step. The 150 mile, So for me, I wanted to get to 36 as a minimum. And No Time to Die, the other one in Adelaide, which a couple of WA runners went over as well, like Brad and Laura and Jess and that. When they went over for that, I was thinking about it, but then that would only not get me to 36 hours. Since then, the race time has changed to a 12 o'clock start. So theoretically, I could have got to 36 hours, but I wanted to make sure I did it comfortably and enjoyed. So but if it was starting on a Friday night, then most probably wouldn't really bother about it. Friday morning is a perfect start for me.
Yeah.
Preferably Thursday morning. Thursday morning would be good.
Yeah. Yeah. Or Monday.
Yeah, Monday.
Yeah.
Right. So anyone in Australia that wants to start a Monday race, I'll be signing up.
Yeah. So as you know, I dropped just after 31 started, so I ended on 30 hours. I sat back and watched the action from about 33 to 35 hours. And I remember watching you, and you were looking so strong. Were you feeling as good as you looked?
Yeah. But also once the sun goes down, like
Yeah.
because I struggled from the heat during the days, once the sun went down, that's when my legs kick in, and I've had that at some of the races I've been to, like Cap 100. I'd come, I think, last on that one because of the heat, and I ran well for the first 30, 40 Ks, but then after that I just dropped out, and then other races as well just dropped out because of the heat. But then this one here, as soon as the sun went down, I thought, yep, now it's time to take it till the midnight.
Yeah.
And I was feeling great, hats off to all the other runners like Johan and Margie. Margie looked so strong out there. And when I was talking to Margie in one of the loops that I was going to quit at 38, she goes, yeah, but you can win it, like, because she was going to do Coast to Cozzy. Obviously the silver ticket was a big draw card. And Coast to Cozzy was also one of the other races that she was going to do. Even though she wasn't going to race at Coast to Cozzy, she was going to take that as a fun run. But yeah, between DK, Johan and Margie, we're having quite a bit of fun out there in the night.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. It looked like that second night, that was perfect conditions as well, because
Yeah,
it was still warm. You didn't have to rug up. You didn't have to worry about the cold. And there was still a lot of people there watching and cheering as you're all coming in as well. It was an awesome atmosphere.
yeah. And hats off to Thomas as well. Who'd always be at the in the at the end of the line as we're coming running in, or he was also parked himself. I think he was a in the night volunteer in the historical village.
Yeah.
He'd always cheer me on when we're coming through. It was really great to
Yeah,
see him.
he's a great guy, isn't he?
Yeah.
Um, so you stopped after finishing 38 yards. But how are you feeling, and how much longer do you think you could have gone for?
I don't know. The backyard is hard to know. Like you can have a couple good hours, and all of a sudden you can drop off or have issues. But when I come in at 38, I was feeling that's probably the strongest I had up till then.
Mm.
But whether I could last 1 hour or 24, I don't know. And because I hadn't worried about sleep during that first night either, that may have played a role, in the hours to come. Yeah, so it's such a hard thing and that's the thing, a backyard, you always wake up and go, oh, could I have done one more? This one here was obviously different for me, but all of my other races, I've always woken up and go, oh, I could have done one more. and you'll forever kick yourself. I should have just gone out for the extra lap
Yeah.
or timed out, or so because on most of my other races I've quit because of other reasons. Like one at Hurdy's one year, I'd signed up only a week before, because Sean had some extra tickets, so I quickly got one before they sold out again. And then, but we also had a birthday party that night that we had to go to as well. A good friend of ours, they had their fairly big birthday bash. So I said to Tama, the wife, I said, I'll run to 24 and then we pack up and we go home,
Yeah.
and it worked well. I actually started lap 24 and timed out because of I'd put my mindset to doing 24 and my nutrition just wasn't right. But yeah, if I had gone, I could have done another hour. It would have been because my nutrition. I'd stopped my nutrition because I was going to stop at 24 anyway. And that's where it shows you it's so important to stay in your nutrition from hour to hour.
Yeah.
And then a couple of the other races I've been to, the first one I did, I quit at 27 because I said to the wife, I said I'll be back home by the time she knocks off from work. And because we're 3 hours south, but then found out I could have carried on, but that's life. That was a good starting thing for me. I really enjoyed that. And then on the other ones, I've either been injured or other issues been happening. So
When you finished at Hysterical on your 38, I mean, the race only went for another 2 hours. Margie won with 40 hours. So did you have a feeling the race was nearly over at that stage, or did you think, or did you have no idea how much longer it was going to go for?
yeah, I seen that Johan was struggling the last couple of hours, and secretly I was hoping that he would drop out, but I think he must have also known I was going to quit at 30 as well, at 38.
Right.
So he would have tried as the hardest possible to get the assist. Obviously, the assist is the thing that you want to be known for, and to try to give it a crack, but it wasn't to be. But yeah, I had a feeling that he was struggling, especially after DK dropped out at 30, 36.
Yeah.
And then Margie was running with Johan for a bit, and I ran with Johan for a bit. I could sense that he was slowly fading away. But yeah, he's a strong lad, old Johan.
Yeah, he's a very good runner.
Yeah.
How well did his son go with his
I
10?
know.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was so good to see. I love it when these young ones come out there and give it a crack, see how many they can do.
Yeah, and it wasn't easy either. It was hot. It was a tough course. I was really impressed with that.
Yeah, yeah.
Very impressive. And how did you pull up the next day? Like, no injuries? You were feeling good?
Yeah, I was feeling pretty good. But because Loxton's like 3 hours away from Adelaide, we ended up making our way towards Adelaide on the Sunday. But we'd stop every half hour or hour and go for a walk because your sea's up pretty bad. I try to do my active recovery as much as possible, like drinking the hydrolytes and getting the body back up to shape again. But as far as how my feet were, I didn't have one blister at all, or one little blister on my toes because I think I'd cut my toenails and there was still a little bit of a spur on one of them. And that was, but yeah, apart from that, I think it's because I changed my shoes and socks quite regular. I wasn't having issues with my feet. But then when we got to Adelaide, we went for a fairly long walk on the Sunday night through the Adelaide city. And then Monday I went for a little jog around No Time to Die course. I couldn't do the full course because they had the Adelaide 500 stand set up right where the old course was. But yeah, that was I do believe in active recovery. Like even after a long run, I still try to back it up with something the next day, whether it be like a 5K walk or unless you're injured, um, you shouldn't be running if you're injured. But if you're just sore, there's no reason, in my opinion. I'm no doctor or but yeah, I've always believed in active recovery, and yeah, hopefully I can do active recovery on every long race I do.
Mm.
Like at Delirious, the next morning we woke up and went for a little jog. It was pretty slow, but it was still kept the body moving, and within a week I was back up to normal distance again.
Mm. So it's the 2nd of January. What have you got
Yep.
planned for 2024? What have you got next?
I don't have any official races yet. There's a thing called in Perth, like the five, the sorry, 24 park runs in 24 hours. I might join that for a couple of hours because it goes from park run to park run. It's not an official park run, but it's just a way of raising money for one of the causes around Perth. I think there might be one in Adelaide, maybe in Victoria as well. I'm not sure.
Mm.
Yeah, so I might join some of the crew for doing some of them. I know some of my other Christian running mates, they might be doing a bit of a park run, 5K run. They might start it a little bit earlier to see if they can get 24 in, so they don't interfere with the Sunday. And then yeah, the other races, I haven't signed up for Birdies. One of my relatives from Tassie, he's coming over for Birdies, so I might have to sign up for that. But that's also around my dad's birthday as well. So it's around because my dad turns 80 in August, so I'll have to work out with the family when we're doing our family gatherings, and yeah, hopefully we can swing it that I can do Birdies.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's also other little races around Perth that, a week or two beforehand, I might go, yeah, I'll join that one. Or, but then I also, Calm myself, we also organise a race called Swan River Half. It's run by Soul Runners, a couple of us Christian friends that we've organised a race for the Saturday, because there's not many half marathons in Saturday. They're all held on Sundays. So, but it's an event open to anyone, and then we do it as a fundraiser for different causes. This year we're doing it for the Essential Collective, which is a homeless. They look after homeless people. Yeah, other years we've done it for Men's Restoration House, or a village in Africa one time to raise a bit of money or awareness for that. So, but yeah, sometimes I run it, and sometimes I'm part of the volunteer through organisation for the day. So yeah, that may be something I'll be doing this year. But apart from that, I don't really have any races planned. Delirious West is always a weekend or sort of a 3/4 of a week where I like to help out with volunteering, whether it be at an aid station or crewing for someone, or doing the run myself. It's such a nice weekend. So yeah, but any WA runners that can't join, just a bit of a shout out. If you can't run it, go help volunteer. It's such a good event to help out, and because it's in the remote part of WA, we try to well, it's in a big event that needs lots of volunteers.
Mm.
So
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, it sounds like I would love to do that one day.
yeah, and one of my friends, she wants me to do No Time to Die. That's in Adelaide. So, but if we do, I don't know.
Yeah,
Um,
it's a
so
little bit earlier this year, isn't it? I think it might be in. Is it in May this year, or am I
no,
wrong?
I think that might. Oh, maybe because there is that other one that they're doing in Victoria now.
Mm.
The one that you're going to be doing,
Yeah,
um,
Wild Dog. Yeah,
Wild Dog. Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
So
the you don't think you might come over to Victoria and do Wild Dog?
Maybe. I'd have to talk to the accountant. She's
Yeah,
she's not with me at the moment. She's at the caravan. So
yeah, fair enough. So Charles, as you know, I ask most of my guests at the end of the podcast their 3 backyard ultra tips. I mean, and I'd love to hear what yours are.
well, I'll give tips mainly for people starting up. Obviously, I don't go as far as Phil and some of those guys. Like I'm fairly low on the scale, but I do reckon listening to your podcast has helped me so much over the last time. I think I've listened to every one. Some I've listened to multiple times just to get tips for myself. But that's one thing I really encourage people. Like even on the course at Hysterical, I was saying to a couple of you, I listen to Pado's podcast because you get so many different tips about different nutrition plans, or like the one from Gabby with intense eat fit. That's you get little bits and snippets from everywhere, and you can do your own race plan and those type of things. But I think for my 3 tips, I think the first one would be train on some backyard loop that you wanna. If you want to do a backyard like No Time to Die or Hysterical or one of those other ones, find a course that's fairly similar and just go out there and have a play around with a bit of nutrition. Do a couple night loops, set yourself up so you can do different different scenarios. So come in at a like 54 minutes or at 45 minutes and see the difference that you actually do. Like if you come in at 45 minutes, it's a lot of wasted time sitting around camp when you can be out there and just taking it a lot easier, a lot less stress on your muscle system and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, so I reckon that would be one of the tips I would like to say. And also, a lot of the times I've seen people with massive blisters and those type of things. What I've done on every one of my backyard, except for my first one, and I learned from that, is change your shoes and socks and clothing as much as possible. I even had in my race plan that I would brush my teeth at certain times of the day, so it felt like you're starting a new day or a new section of your race. I'd have a shirt change every 3 or so laps. So yeah, I reckon, yeah, shoe and sock change, little massages on the way. That's one way of minimizing the damage that you can do if you want to do 5 hours, 10 hours, 20 hours, whatever your target is. Yeah, do those little things that may help you get another extra hour or 2 out of you. Yeah, and like I've said before, write your race plan down, because I didn't do that in my first couple, and I failed. Or not failed. I dropped out mainly because of certain types of issues that could have been overcome on the way, unless it's an injury. Yeah. If you get a chance, write down what you want to do, on every hour. Because even with that 12-hour run around home, I had that as I wrote out a race plan. Maybe a little bit of a waste of time, but I think if you can toy with the idea of different nutrition and that kind of stuff, just it helps. Any little bit helps, I reckon.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, awesome. Yeah, well, look, Charles, thanks for your support of the podcast. I always like hearing from you, and it was great to meet you in real life and run with you at Hysterical Carnage as well. And I was really, really blown away by how well you did as well. Like, it was an awesome performance.
Thanks, Pato. Like, it was good meeting you as well. Like, I seen you at at Birdys. I couldn't run, but I popped down for the Saturday afternoon and stuff, and got to meet you there. But yeah, it's been such a good way of like there again, Strava. Now we're buddies on Strava, and you can see each other and what we do, and have a chat on course, and it's been really helpful. Like what you've done for the sport, not only for the backyard ultra sport, I think for the sport in general, it's been really great. You know, and I love it how you have different guests on, like myself. That's not the best of runners, or you have guys that have done the big mileage, and you've got guys that haven't done as big a stuff. It's really good that you can reach out to so many different people in the sport as well. It's been really good knowing you as well.
Yeah, thanks, mate. Yeah, well, look, thanks again for coming on. I'm really glad I was able to twist your arm and convince you to come on.
Yeah,
And
it took a bit.
yeah, look, awesome. Thanks for finding your way around and finding internet connection too while you're on holidays. And
Yeah,
yeah, enjoy the rest of your holidays and enjoy your run today.
will do. Thanks a lot, Paddy. Cheers, mate.
No worries. See you,
Yeah,
Charles.
yeah. Bye.
If you've enjoyed this podcast, it would be awesome if you could share, comment, like, subscribe, all of that. If you've got any feedback, shoot me a message. Hope you have a great day. See ya.